Okay, I want to make a video of all the changes that we've been making over the past few weeks to both RuleMaker and Transcript Express. Been making several kind of subtle enhancements here and there to try to just continue to improve the user experience. Going to let's start with RuleMaker, or I'm going to go in through my navigation collection. So we're going to start with RuleMaker. Let's go to RuleMaker Classic. And so some of the changes that we've made, I just want to confirm that I'm recording here. Yep, should be good. Some of the changes are in the fetch area. So we've really been focusing on realizing that users may have a lot of different interests in the fetch, and what can we do to kind of dial in the options there. One of the things we added is this minimum occurs field here. So if you put a number in this field, let's say 5, this is how many times that particular course is found. So the thinking there is that you may want to, when you're building rules, fetching and building rules, you may obviously have an interest in courses that have had some frequency. As only once a course has a certain frequency, maybe it's not worth your time becomes worth your time to build a rule. So I might say I want to focus on courses from, just to give an example here, Long Beach City College, that have occurred at least 5 times within the other criteria. So if I click on fetch, obviously in my demo environment, I don't have much data. I don't find many. Let's change my search though to manual and look for courses that occurred at least 5 times. Didn't find any. Let's change that to 2 times. Okay, so we actually found some there. And so we should see, here was like English 100 here occurs twice, happens to be the same student. If we sort by subject, here we can see accounts 1000, algebra 100, art 211. By the way, I don't know how much you use the filter here. You can filter your fetch results by subject and things. So if I click view all here, you can see the occurrences. Anyway, so that's one thing we added, is that multiple occurs criteria. It's totally optional, so you don't have to use that. But the other thing you'll notice is these preview and summary links, and then these additional tabs here. When you're doing your fetches, especially when you're doing an exploratory mode, you might want to, before you load rows to staging, you might want to kind of get a glimpse of what it's gonna be. So just use your usual search criteria, click preview, and again, it's totally optional, but if you click preview, you're going to get a row count. So here's the count. By preview is a detailed view, so it's by school, by incoming course, by articulation term, and you're going to get a count. So again, this kind of helps you see, you might want to focus on ones that have higher counts. Once you see something you like, just click staging here, and it's going to go ahead and push these. This allows you to kind of cherry pick or be surgical in your fetch so that you can pick just the rows, just the courses that you're interested in. It's going to push those into the staging table. And now, well, let me purge my staging table and do that again. So push these, push these, push these, and you'll see. So it allows me to be more surgical in my, now the summary tab works the same way. So if I click summary, same thing, it's going to run my fetch for me, and it's going to give me a preview of counts. Here it's just a higher level count. So it's only by school and subject in our tick term. So again, allows me to get a higher level view of, oh, I see I have 5 occurrences of history, some history course, and I can load those to staging same way. So the 5 history courses should now appear in my staging. So again, just trying to help the search experience, the fetch experience, to have more options. One thing you'll notice in our grid here too on the staging table is we added a go link here, realizing that once you load a row here, because this is student specific data, right? There's impl IDs associated with this. You may want to go take a look at that, maybe something weird or something that catches your attention that you want to research. Just click go. It's going to launch that student's transfer credit in a new window, just so you can go and take a look at that if for any reason you're curious about that. Just another subtle change. I think that's all I needed to highlight here on RuleMaker. Oh, the other thing is there is something else. Yeah, let's go ahead and build a rule here and step through. So we added hyperlinks in the messages here, realizing that when you get a message that RuleMaker did something, you might want to easily go take a look at that. So just click the hyperlink and it's going to open. Let's show you the rule one as well. So there's hyperlinks at every step here. So go ahead and click the hyperlink. It's going to open that econ rule that it just built. Right. So anyway, just another hopefully usability improvement there. I think that's it for RuleMaker that we added. Let me go to, and I don't think we made any changes. We haven't made any changes recently to the import mechanism. We did add a couple other things. So rule details, another area we've been pretty busy. Rule detail is, we haven't done a whole lot with that originally because we were so focused on helping people build rules. But now that some customers are coming up with their rules more fully built out, we're starting to get more attention on the rule detail because it allows either centralized staff or departmental staff to go in and review the rules. And so these provide, a collapsed way to view all of your rules. We did add a filtering function. So just select the subject you want to see, click filter, and it's going to select only those rows with that incoming subject area so you can more quickly drill in on those. You can just remove the filter to go back to the full results. And then the other thing we spent some time on, and by the way, there's also a configuration tab where you can control what is going to show on the rule detail if you want to hide certain things. We also added these buttons over here on the far right. So realize that as you're looking at your rules, it might be helpful to see some statistics about those rules. So you'll see 4 kinds of buttons appearing. They're color coded. So, and if you mouse over, it'll tell you what they are. So mouse over the green one. This is students who have accepted credit with this rule. So they took the incoming course and they got the equivalent that matches the rule. If you click on the link, you're going to see who those students are. Okay, transfer credit accepted. Fine, that's good. That's green because that's a positive outcome. If you see the yellow button, that is differently awarded. So they had the incoming course that matches, that seems to be a match, but they got a different result. So if you click on, for example, this one, Math 20, who is that student? If we go look at who that student is, with Math 20, there it is. That student was given Math 111, whereas the rule is that the student would get Math 125. So that's what we call it, differently awarded. Just something you might want to look at. Then you have the yellow button, which is unawarded. So the student appears to match the incoming course, but they have not been awarded any credit. And again, you can go take a look at them. Okay. And then there's one more that'll be a red button, and that is rejected. So if a student, yeah, you'll see a red button here. If a student matches the rule, but they got rejected, and probably it's because they had an issue with their grade points or time frame. Okay, so those were some additional enhancements there we made. By the way, these buttons here, and this as well as this edit link, will only appear to users who have security to these areas, meaning that if I click on this edit link here, right, it takes me to edit that rule. So if I don't have security to transfer subject area, I'm not even going to see that edit link. Same thing here. If I don't have access to transfer credit auto, course credits auto, I'm not even going to see these buttons. Okay, and then as I said, these buttons are also controlled by this show statistics. If I uncheck this, then these statistics will not appear. Okay, so that's some improvements to rule detail. The other focus of the changes we made are in Transcript Express. We didn't change anything on the defaults. We haven't changed anything on the entry page, but on the course credits automated, we made some changes there. Let me go ahead and pull up a student. So mostly, I think the thing I need to call your attention to is this Y button here. So for if I check any box here, let me check 3 of them here, and I click Y, the idea is it's going to our code is going to step through these rows and try to figure out why was it accepted or why was no rule found, right? And just show you that. So it's going to pop open a grid like this. So rows 6, 7, and 8. So for Math 102 incoming, credit was awarded manually. We'll tell you some things that we found, but we did find a matching program source equivalency, but we could not find a transfer from record. And then you can click through if we found something, like we found a matching program source, you can click through and see that. In the case of Science 500, we found a matching program source equivalency, but we found an effective dating issue, right? And so we'll tell you what we found. And then in case of Math 101, it was simply accepted, and here's the rule that was used. So again, these are hyperlinks you can click through, but again, that's just to help you understand, because I know as a user, sometimes, especially if I see no rule, I'm confused. I may think I have a rule. And so we're trying to help you figure out what might be the problem of why that rule is not found. Okay, so that's the Y link. The other thing we did, let me show you the other thing. We made some changes. Now, rule overview is a completely new folder and navigation that you're going to see. This is really all about statistics, trying to help you get more of a bird's eye view of your transfer credit. A totally optional feature, but like if you you can play with these counts as well as the chart type. Some visualization. So in my demo environment, I don't have much data, but for you, these rows would be hundreds or thousands. But so we have 5 different tabs: credit using a rule, credit having no rule, courses having no rule. And so I won't go into full detail on these, course credits manual, but they all work the same way. Once you go into the page, you can play with the counts. And so, for example, you can see I have 6 occurrences of transfer school stat awarded manually. And here I have transfer school math awarded manually. So these are obviously just pseudo courses. How about credit having no rule? So again, if I play with these numbers, you can see Long Beach City College subject area of psych has 20 credit with no rule. I can also play with the artic term range. And then if I click analyze, let's change this to like something with 5 or greater. If I click analyze, it's going to pop open a number of diagnostics, visualizations, and other tools. So again, the overview is all about just giving you some tools to help you get a bird's eye view of your data. This is a 3D visualization by articulation term. So on the schools that are in my selection, in this case, this was my selection, and the schools in that selection, it's showing you the breakdown by articulation term, so you can kind of see those patterns. Here is another visualization that, well, this is the pivot table. So it's taking all my, whatever tab I was on, in this case, credit having no rule, it's taking that out to my pivot table so I can, again, I can do some analysis of the data. In your pivot table, remember, if you want to see the details, just click on the cell and it'll show you those details. And then on my credit using a rule, there's, oh, and just the other, yeah, there's a link here. When you're in a database for the first time, or if you want to periodically update the statistics behind these tables, click on the run process. This is going to pop up and select checkboxes for the data that you want to reload, because this data is not pulled real time. It's pulled from staging tables, so some behind the scenes tables. So when you need to reload those, just go ahead and click the ones you want to reload and the range of articulation terms and submit the process, and it's going to reload these tables. It'll create an application engine process monitor for you to see that. Anyway, so that's a lot of information. But wanted to give you a quick overview of all the kind of improvements we've been working on. And I will stop there.